Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to talk about Toyota Avalons. Now in this case, this is an old 1999 Avalon XLE, a luxury car in its time. Now Toyota's first big luxury car in the United States was the Toyota Cressida. They went from 1976 to 1992. The Cressidas were on sale for a long time. Toyota's first big move into the luxury market. My wife had one. It was a great car. It was a classic luxury car. Rear-wheel drive, had a straight 6-cylinder engine in it, but after all those years, it's seen its day, and Toyota decided to replace the Cressida with the Avalon, a more modern design. As you can tell by looking under the hood, they got rid of the straight section, put a V6 in. And yes, this one's showing its age, plastic pipe to hold it up, because those struts are worn out. They cost so much money. Who really cares? You can put a piece of wood or a plastic piece of pipe like this in your trunk to hold it up. Why spend hundreds of dollars just fixing those stupid pneumatic things when a plastic piece works just as good? Now the V6 engine is smaller, takes up less space than the straight 6, puts out a lot more horsepower. The original Cressida with the straight 6 only had 110 horsepower, while this 99 Avalon has 200 horsepower, and the modern ones can have 310 horsepower. So they got a lot more zip. Instead of being rear-wheel drive, it's now front-wheel drive, so it gets better gas mileage too. Now being a luxury car, gas mileage wasn't the forefront for these things anyway. 24, 25 miles a gallon on a highway, which was 3 to 4 more than the earlier Cressidas that they took over from. They had almost twice the power too, realize that. 200 horsepower versus 110. They had a lot more power, and to get twice as much power and get a little bit better gas mileage, that still was something in itself. And of course that's highway rating. In the city, you're gonna get in the teens there. Generally you'll get 17 or so if you do stop and go driving all the time. Now if you jump to 2020, the Toyota Avalon Hybrid, that gets 43 miles a gallon in town. That's a completely different machine. And these older engines, like in this 99, they were simpler. They had a timing belt in them, and they were normal engines. They didn't have all that variable valve timing stuff that the modern ones do. Because from 2005 to 2016, these Avalons, their V6 engine had a problem with the variable valve timing system, where they would leak engine oil all over the place. I had a customer that had an engine blown because it all leaked all over the place. So that's something, if you're looking at a used one in those years, you want a mechanic like me, to check out that variable valve timing system closely. If it is leaking and has a problem, you wouldn't buy the car then. That's a known problem with the 2005 to the 2016 Avalons. They had a 3.5 liter V6 that did have problems with oil leaking. It wasn't such a perfect fix. So actually, the older ones like this had more solid engines, lasted longer. Now yeah, the struts don't hold up the hood anymore, and you see a few dings here and there, pieces that are coming loose, but with 186,000 miles on it, this thing still runs like a clock. And the interior, hey, the leather's still in decent shape. Not bad for a 21-year-old car that sits in a hot Texas sun all the time. Now my wife's Cressida, it was a great car, but the leather was poorly made, and the seats cracked all over. The leather ripped open, and I had to go get some New Zealand sheep covers. Now they were really good seat covers made out of real wool. They were very comfortable, but still, you took them off, there are these giant crevices in the leather where it all cracked open. Now, as with any luxury car, these things ride like a dream. They got spacious trunks, and yeah, it's an older car, so it doesn't have a remote for the trunk. You just turn the key. As you can see, my customer has all kinds of stuff in here, and it keeps going back. You could shove even more if he wanted. Now, if you are thinking about buying a used Avalon, here's something else to check though. Check the power steering fluid, because they're notorious for getting leaking power steering racks. And to check that, jack up the car, then start it up and turn the wheel all the way to the left. Then go in under the wheel. And right here, you can see the rack. This is the boot. It's a dust boot. Squeeze it, look around. See if there's power steering fluid coming out. If it's leaking, that means that the rack inside is leaking. Then start it again and turn the wheel the other way and check the other side. Check the other end, it's dry too, so this one isn't leaking. Now realize that rubber bellows boot is just a dust shield. If you squeeze that and fluid leaks out, it doesn't mean that it needs just the new dust shield. It means it needs a new rack, because that keeps dirt and dust from getting inside and ruining the actual seal that's inside the rack. If the rack's leaking, you got to replace the whole steering rack. Generally costs you well over $1,000 on this thing. So if you're looking at a used one, you want to check that first. Now this 99 has a 4-speed automatic. They are pretty much bulletproof. I've never actually seen one of these things break, and I've seen them with 450,000 miles on them. They're very dependable cars. Basically, they're the Toyota version of Lexus. Of course, it's the same company. They wanted to have a luxury Toyota. So when they stopped making the Cressidas, 2 years later, they came out with the Avalons. Now the modern ones, they're not giving them away. They start at $36,000. And even this one back in 1999, it was about $27,000. They weren't giving them away. They cost a reasonable amount of money, but at least you're getting quality for your money. And if you're buying a used one like this, and the steering rack isn't leaking, and the variable valve timing on the engine isn't leaking, of course on this it won't, because it doesn't even have variable valve timing. But if you're getting a 2005 or above, they all have variable valve timing, and those you'd want a mechanic to check that system closely to make sure it wasn't leaking oil. Now even if you don't baby your old used car, one of these Avalons can still keep going and going. So now you know the truth about Toyota Avalons. How they can be a great used car if you just check out a few things before you buy them. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.